Millionaire husband gave his pregnant wife divorce papers as a birthday gift. He never expected what happened next. Hello, everyone. Nathan Whitmore believed he had designed the perfect birthday trap. His wife was 7 months pregnant, surrounded by 20 guests, and too private to make a scene. All he had to do was place divorce papers beside her cake, slide over a silver pen, and get one signature before Monday. But Lauren had spent years reading contracts, and buried inside his gift was a reference he should have prayed she never recognized. Now picture Manhattan at night, and a cream-colored envelope no pregnant wife should ever receive on her birthday. What kind of birthday gift makes a pregnant woman stop breathing before she even touches the ribbon? The silver cake knife slipped from Lauren Whitmore's fingers and struck the porcelain plate with a sharp, delicate clink. 20 people heard it. No one moved. Outside the penthouse windows, Manhattan glittered beneath a black winter sky, towers burning gold above the river. Inside, candles flickered across Lauren's face as she stared at the cream-colored envelope her husband had placed beside her birthday cake. Nathan Whitmore smiled from the opposite end of the table. Calm, polished, perfect. I thought this year deserved something life-changing, he said. Lauren's hand moved instinctively to her 7-month belly. Their daughter shifted beneath the pale fabric of her dress. For one hopeful second, Lauren thought Nathan might finally surprise her with something connected to the baby. A nursery renovation, a family trip, maybe even a letter written by the man she remembered marrying. Instead, Nathan nodded toward the envelope. Open it. The room had been decorated in white roses and champagne-colored candles. His mother sat near the window. 2 executives from Whitmore Development were drinking bourbon beside the fireplace. Lauren's closest friends had been invited too, though she had not understood why Nathan suddenly cared so much about celebrating her 29th birthday. Now she knew. Her fingers slid beneath the flap. Paper whispered against paper. The first page came out. Lauren read the heading. Then read it again. Proposed marital settlement agreement. Beneath it was a copy of the divorce complaint Nathan intended to file. Her mouth went dry. Nathan, I wanted to do this cleanly, he said. No apology. No hesitation. Around the table, someone inhaled sharply. Lauren looked at him. Dark ash-brown hair, perfectly combed. Blue-gray eyes steady. Navy suit without a wrinkle. He looked exactly like the Millionaire CEO photographed beside luxury developments and charity checks. He did not look like a husband ending his marriage during his pregnant wife's birthday dinner. You planned this? Lauren asked. Nathan leaned back. We both know this hasn't been working. Both. The word almost made her laugh. Lauren looked down again. Apartment allowance. Temporary support. Confidentiality. A proposal about future parenting arrangements after the baby was born. Everything had already been measured, priced, reduced to paragraphs. Nathan slid a silver pen across the white tablecloth. You'll be comfortable. More than comfortable. His voice softened. There's no reason to make this ugly. Lauren heard phones shifting around the room. Someone was recording. Nathan knew it too. That was why his voice remained gentle. Why his posture remained relaxed. Why the cruelty wore a suit tonight. Lauren reached the final pages. Then she stopped. Schedule C. Her eyes narrowed. A small reference number sat beside a property disclosure. WT 17. The candlelight seemed to disappear. 10 years earlier, before Nathan's company had towers, investors, and magazine covers, Lauren had helped organize its earliest contracts. She knew those codes. She knew what WT meant. More importantly, she knew what 17 referred to. Nathan watched her silence and mistook it for shock. Just sign it, Lauren. She looked up. His smile returned. Behind him, the city stretched endlessly through the glass. Lauren placed the papers flat on the table. Her fingers no longer trembled. Who prepared Schedule C? She asked. Nathan's expression changed. Only for a second. But Lauren saw it. The smile tightened. His eyes flicked toward the document before returning to her. My attorneys. What? Lauren said nothing. She looked back at WT 17. Nathan had expected tears. He had expected humiliation to make her obedient. What he had not expected was that the woman he spent years convincing to stop reading contracts had just found the one number he should have prayed she forgot. 3 days earlier, Lauren Whitmore had still believed silence could save a marriage. She was wrong. Rain pressed softly against the penthouse windows while she stood in the kitchen, one hand beneath her 7-month belly and the other wrapped around a mug of tea that had already gone cold. Nathan had left before sunrise. No kiss. No explanation. Just a text. Meeting early. Don't wait for dinner. Lauren read it twice, then set the phone face down. She had become very good at not asking questions. That was not who she had been when Nathan met her. Before the penthouse. Before the private cars. Before Whitmore Development became a name printed across Manhattan construction sites. Lauren had worked as a corporate contract analyst. She loved details. Not glamorous details. The small ones. A missing signature. A strange clause. A number buried on page 47 that changed the meaning of everything before it. 10 years earlier, Nathan's company had been 4 employees, 2 unpaid invoices, and 1 borrowed office with a leaking ceiling. Lauren had helped organize the contracts. She created reference codes, built schedule systems, flagged restrictions Nathan often ignored because he thought paperwork slowed ambition. Back then, he admired her for it. You see things everyone else misses, he used to say. Later, after they married, admiration became inconvenience. You don't need to work anymore. Then, why are you still reading that? Then, let the lawyers handle it. Eventually, Lauren stopped opening the folders Nathan brought home. She told herself that was trust. Now she wondered if it had simply been training. The baby moved beneath her palm. Lauren smiled faintly. Your father wasn't always like this, she whispered. The words sounded weak even to her. She carried the tea into the study. Nathan had left several folders on the desk. She normally would not have touched them. But one sheet had slipped halfway out. A project schedule. Whitmore Development Group. Lauren froze. In the lower corner was a reference code. WT-17. Her heartbeat changed. She pulled the page free. WT-17. Lauren remembered the code immediately. Years earlier, she had created that internal classification for property interests carrying third-party restrictions. Years ago, her mother had placed a piece of family property into a trust intended to protect Lauren's future. Nathan later used rights connected to that property while expanding Whitmore Development. Lauren had agreed to certain limited uses, but WT-17 carried restrictions. Anything beyond those limits required notice. And consent. Her consent. Lauren sat down slowly. She opened an old storage box from the bottom shelf. Inside were documents she had not touched in years. Their first apartment lease. Early company agreements. Her mother's trust papers. She found the folder. WT-17. The original agreement felt heavier than paper should. Lauren read, then reread. Her eyes stopped on one clause. Any material collateral modification required written notice to both trustee and beneficiary. Lauren was the beneficiary. No one had notified her. She turned back to Nathan's project sheet. A transaction date appeared near the bottom. Monday. For days away. Her birthday was Friday. Lauren's mouth went dry. The private elevator chimed. She looked up. Nathan stepped into the penthouse, rain darkening the shoulders of his coat. He stopped when he saw her in the study. Then his eyes moved to the folder in her hands. Only for a second. But Lauren saw it. What are you doing? He asked. His voice was calm. Too calm. Lauren closed the folder. Looking for an old insurance document. Nathan watched her, then smiled. Leave that stuff alone. You should be resting. There it was again. Not affection. Instruction. Lauren nodded. Nathan relaxed. He walked upstairs without another question. Lauren waited until his footsteps disappeared. Then she opened WT-17 again. 4 days from now, Nathan expected her to celebrate her birthday. Lauren was beginning to suspect he had chosen that date for something else entirely. Lauren did not sleep that night. At 2:17 a.m., Manhattan was silent behind the glass, but the old contract in her hand seemed louder than traffic. WT-17. She read the clause again, then again. Written notice. Trustee approval. Beneficiary consent. 3 requirements. Nathan had none of them. Lauren sat at the dining table in one of Nathan's oversized sweaters, her golden blonde hair tied loosely behind her neck, one hand resting over the slow movement of their daughter. For years, she had believed the trust was little more than a family formality. Her mother had created it before she died. One parcel of property. Nothing glamorous. Nothing that made Lauren secretly wealthy. But years earlier, when Whitmore Development was struggling to secure financing, Nathan had asked whether the company could use certain rights connected to the property as collateral. Lauren had agreed. Carefully. Temporarily. With restrictions. Nathan had laughed when she insisted on the language. You really think I'm going to steal your mother's land? She remembered smiling. No, I think contracts exist because people change. At the time, it had sounded like a joke. Now Lauren stared at the page and felt cold. She called Audrey Sloan at 8:03 the next morning. Audrey had reviewed commercial contracts with Lauren years ago, before Lauren disappeared into Nathan's world of galas and charity dinners. Her voice was unchanged, direct, awake. Tell me exactly what you found. Lauren did. By 9:20, they were sitting inside Audrey's downtown office with the original WT-17 agreement between them. Audrey read without speaking. That frightened Lauren more than questions would have. Finally, she looked up. Did Nathan notify you about a sale? No refinancing. No modification of the collateral package? No, Audrey tapped the clause. Then he has a problem. Lauren's throat tightened. How big? That depends on what he's trying to do. Audrey opened a public transaction database, then several corporate filings. Whitmore Development had been unusually active. New advisors. New lender disclosures. A private equity firm appearing repeatedly beside Nathan's company. Audrey leaned toward the screen. There. Lauren followed her finger. Proposed acquisition. Closing date, Monday. 3 days after Lauren's birthday. Her pulse began to pound. Nathan was preparing to sell a major interest in Whitmore Development. The company he had spent 15 years building. The company everyone believed was his greatest possession. Lauren looked back at WT-17. If this property is part of the collateral structure, they need clean representations regarding consent, Audrey finished. And if he told them he already had it? Audrey did not answer immediately. She pulled another filing closer. Then her expression changed. Lauren, what? Audrey turned the screen. A representation connected to the financing package stated that all required beneficiary and trustee approvals had been obtained or would be delivered before closing. Lauren felt the room narrow. I never signed anything. I know. And the trustee? We'll confirm. Lauren stared at Monday's date, then suddenly remembered Nathan's birthday invitation. Friday night. The elaborate dinner he had insisted on arranging. 20 guests. Family. Executives. A celebration he had not bothered giving her in years. Her stomach turned. He needs something from me before Monday. Audrey studied her. What makes you say that? Lauren thought about the folder Nathan had hurried to hide. His strange attention to her birthday. His instructions to rest. The way his eyes had moved when he saw WT-17 in her hands. I don't know yet. Her phone buzzed. Nathan. A message. Friday will be special. We need a fresh start. Lauren stared at the words. Audrey saw them too. Neither woman spoke. Then Audrey opened the trust agreement again. Whatever he puts in front of you Friday, she said. You sign nothing. Lauren placed her hand over her daughter. Nathan believed the birthday dinner would end something. Lauren was beginning to understand why. Audrey closed the file. Lauren, he isn't divorcing you because the deal is finished. She looked directly into Lauren's eyes. He's divorcing you because it isn't. Friday night arrived dressed like a celebration. Nathan had chosen everything. The white roses, the champagne, the private chef, the pianist playing softly beside the windows while Manhattan glittered 40 floors below. Even Lauren's seat had been chosen for her. Center of the table, perfectly visible, exactly where everyone could watch. She understood that now. Lauren sat with one hand resting beneath her 7-month belly, while 20 guests raised glasses to her 29th birthday. Her golden blonde hair fell in soft waves over a pale cream dress Nathan had selected that morning. You look beautiful, he had said, for the first time in months. Now she knew why. He wanted the photographs to look perfect. The cake arrived at 8:42. 30 seconds later, Nathan stood. I have one final gift. Lauren heard Audrey's voice inside her head. Whatever he puts in front of you, sign nothing. A waiter carried over the cream envelope. Lauren already knew what was inside. Still, when Nathan placed it beside her plate, her chest tightened. Knowledge did not make betrayal painless. Open it, he said. Lauren lifted the flap. The divorce complaint. The proposed settlement agreement. Schedule C, WT-17. Exactly as Audrey had predicted. Around her, conversation died. Nathan's mother lowered her champagne. One of Lauren's friends whispered her name. Lauren kept reading. Nathan waited. He had structured the agreement beautifully. A smaller apartment. Temporary support. Confidentiality. Language about future parenting arrangements. And buried among the property provisions, a release broad enough to eliminate potential claims connected to certain Whitmore development transactions. There it was. The real gift Nathan wanted from her. Not divorce. Consent disguised as surrender. Nathan placed a silver pen beside her hand. You'll be taken care of. Lauren looked up. Taken care of? You know what I mean. No, I don't think I do. His jaw tightened. Only slightly. Several guests were holding phones now. Nathan noticed. His expression softened immediately. Lauren, this doesn't need to become unpleasant. Then, quieter. Don't embarrass yourself. For years, that sentence might have worked. Lauren hated scenes. She hated raised voices. She hated becoming the center of attention. Nathan knew that. That was why he had invited witnesses. He believed her dignity was another weakness he could use. Lauren picked up the pen. Nathan exhaled. His shoulders relaxed. He thought she was signing. Instead, Lauren turned to Schedule C. She found the reference number, WT-17, then drew one slow circle around it. Nathan's face changed. What are you doing? Lauren placed the pen down. I received your offer. Good. I'm not accepting it. The room went still. Nathan stared at her. Lauren. She gathered the documents. His voice dropped. You have no idea what your life costs without me. The words hurt. Not because she believed them anymore. Because she remembered when she had. Lauren pushed her chair back carefully. Their daughter kicked beneath her palm. She stood. Maybe I don't. Nathan leaned toward her. Then stop pretending you understand things that aren't your business. Lauren looked at the papers. Then at him. I still understand contracts. Silence. Nathan's blue-gray eyes hardened. Lauren walked toward the private elevator. No dramatic speech. No tears for the cameras. Just one hand holding the documents and the other protecting the life inside her. The elevator doors opened. She stepped inside. Nathan called her name. The doors began closing. Then Lauren's phone vibrated. An email. From the trustee's office. Urgent. Unauthorized collateral modification request received. Lauren read it once. Then again. The doors closed between them. Nathan had spent the entire evening believing he had finally cornered his wife. He did not yet understand that the agreement he wanted her to sign had just confirmed exactly what she needed to know. The message that hurt Lauren most did not mention money. It mentioned her. Sunday afternoon, Audrey called. Come to the office. Lauren heard something in her voice. Not excitement. Not victory. Something colder. By 3 o'clock, Lauren sat across from Audrey beneath the fluorescent lights of a quiet conference room. The city outside was gray. Her daughter moved gently beneath her ribs. Audrey turned a laptop toward her. Transaction Counsel produced additional communications after receiving our notice. Lauren looked at the screen. An email chain. Nathan's name. His attorney. A financial advisor. The first messages were ordinary. Closing schedules. Consent lists. Deadlines. Then Audrey scrolled lower. Lauren stopped breathing. One sentence sat alone in the middle of the screen. Give it to her at the birthday dinner. She won't make a scene in front of everyone. Lauren read it again. What is it? Audrey opened the attachment history. The proposed settlement. Lauren's settlement. The papers Nathan had placed beside her cake. Her hands went cold. Another message appeared below it. She's 7 months pregnant. She's exhausted. Keep the conversation short and get the signature. Lauren stared. For months, she had wondered whether Nathan noticed how tired she was. He had. He simply had not cared for the reason she hoped. Her swollen feet. Her sleepless nights. The way she avoided arguments because stress made the baby move violently beneath her ribs. Nathan had noticed everything, then converted it into strategy. He knew, Lauren whispered. Audrey remained still. He knew I wouldn't want a scene. Yes. Lauren thought about the 20 guests. His mother. Her friends. Executives. Phones pointed toward the table. Nathan had not invited witnesses because he wanted emotional support. He had invited them because Lauren hated public confrontation. Her dignity had been part of his leverage. A tear slipped down her cheek. Lauren wiped it away angrily. I feel stupid. No, I spent months thinking I was imagining things. Audrey closed the laptop halfway. That was useful to him. The words landed quietly. Lauren looked toward the window. She remembered Nathan touching her stomach after prenatal appointments. Telling her to rest. Telling her not to worry about business. Let me handle everything. She had mistaken control for protection. The baby kicked. Lauren placed both hands over her belly. I don't want to destroy him. Audrey studied her. Lauren continued. I don't want his company. I don't want some revenge story where I spend the rest of my life measuring whether he suffered enough. Her voice strengthened. I want him to stop deciding what I'm allowed to know. Audrey opened the laptop again. Then that's what we do. At 4:18 p.m., another document arrived from the trustee. No beneficiary consent had ever been issued. No trustee approval existed for the collateral modification. The record was now clear. Nathan's closing package said approvals would be delivered. Lauren had refused to provide them, and the buyer's lawyers knew. Her phone vibrated. Nathan. She answered this time. Lauren. His voice was low, controlled. We need to fix whatever you've done before tomorrow. Lauren looked at Audrey. What have I done? You contacted the buyer. I corrected the record. You're jeopardizing hundreds of millions of dollars. No, her voice barely rose. I told them I never signed. Silence. Then Nathan said something that sounded almost like the old him. Please come home. Lauren closed her eyes. Once, those words would have been enough. Not anymore. I'll see you through the attorneys. She ended the call. Audrey watched her place the phone down. You okay? Lauren breathed slowly. Yes. For the first time, she meant it. Audrey gathered the documents into a single folder. Tomorrow morning, Nathan walks into the closing room expecting the biggest deal of his life. Lauren looked at the folder. And Audrey clicked it shut. And tomorrow morning, he learns you know everything. Monday morning began with champagne on ice. By 9 a.m., the 52nd floor conference room at Whitmore Development looked less like a workplace and more like a victory celebration. Floor-to-ceiling glass, polished walnut, silver trays of pastries no one touched. At the far end of the table, 3 bottles of champagne waited beside a stack of closing folders. Nathan Whitmore arrived at 9:07. Dark navy suit, perfect tie, controlled smile. The largest deal of his career was supposed to close before lunch. Halcyon Equities attorneys sat across from him. Bank representatives filled one side of the room. Whitmore's transaction counsel occupied the other. Nathan shook hands like a man already spending money that had not arrived yet. Let's finish this. No one answered. That was the first sign. His attorney avoided his eyes. One of Halcyon's lawyers closed a folder. Nathan's smile faded. What? A woman from Halcyon's legal team slid a document across the table. We received a notice regarding the WT-17 collateral. Nathan did not touch it. From whom? You know from whom. Silence. The room changed temperature. Nathan finally picked up the notice. Lauren Whitmore. Beneficiary. No consent granted. Trustee approval absent. Material collateral modification disputed. His jaw tightened. This is a domestic misunderstanding. Halcyon's attorney remained expressionless. It is now a closing issue. Nathan turned toward his own counsel. Fix it. We can't simply ignore a disputed consent requirement. You told me everything was ready. We were told Mrs. Whitmore's execution would be obtained before closing. Nathan's face hardened. Around the table, people suddenly became interested in their documents. No one wanted to be looking at him when the truth settled into the room. The champagne remained unopened. Across Manhattan, Lauren sat in Audrey Sloan's office. No celebration. No cameras. Just a glass of water, a legal pad, and her phone placed face down on the table. At 9:23, it rang. Nathan. Audrey looked at Lauren. You don't have to answer. Lauren did. Nathan. What did you do? His voice was quiet. That made the anger sharper. Lauren looked at the copy of WT-17 in front of her. I told them I never consented. You stopped the closing. No, you contacted my buyer 48 hours before a transaction worth hundreds of millions. I corrected a statement about my consent. Nathan breathed hard into the phone. Do you understand what you just cost me? Lauren closed her eyes. There it was. Cost. Always cost. The apartment. The marriage. Her future. Her silence. Everything Nathan understood eventually became a number. Nothing, Lauren said. What? I didn't cost you anything. She opened her eyes. I asked them to read what you signed. Silence. In the conference room, Nathan stood beneath a skyline that had once made him feel untouchable. One Halcyon attorney removed the signature pages from the closing set. Another began packing documents into a leather case. The bank representative closed his laptop. Nathan watched the deal physically disappear from the table. This isn't over, he said into the phone. Lauren's voice remained calm. I know. Then she ended the call. At 9:31, Halcyon formally postponed the closing pending review of the trust consent, Nathan's representations, and the disputed collateral package. Not canceled. Not destroyed. Paused. One word. Enough to make every lawyer in the room nervous. Nathan stared at the champagne. Friday night. He had pushed a pen toward Lauren because he believed she would sign anything to avoid humiliation. Monday morning, a room full of powerful people refused to sign anything because Lauren had refused first. Across town, Audrey placed another document in front of her. This is only the beginning. Lauren looked at it. A request for expedited financial disclosure. Nathan had wanted her to sign without reading. Now everyone was reading. And for the first time in years, that terrified him more than losing money. In the weeks between the delayed closing and the hearing, nothing happened as quickly as Nathan wanted. That became part of the consequence. Audrey did not magically obtain every company email overnight. She used the divorce process, targeted document requests, and third-party production to establish what had been represented about Lauren's consent and when. Halcyon's lawyers continued their own diligence because the buyers still wanted the deal, but they refused to treat Lauren's signature as an assumption. Nathan's team began separating the trust issue from the marital settlement, exactly as it should have been handled from the beginning. Lauren spent those weeks attending prenatal appointments, sleeping badly, and reading every document Audrey gave her. She did not become an expert in mergers. She did not need to. She only needed to understand the rights connected to her own name. When the relevant communications finally arrived through proper channels, the timeline became clearer. The consent issue had been identified before Lauren's birthday. The settlement had been revised before the dinner, and the planned Monday closing had created pressure Nathan never disclosed to her. The facts were less sensational than a secret confession and more damaging because they were ordinary business records created before anyone expected them to be read together. 3 weeks later, the hearing began with the sound of a folder closing. Sharp. Final. Nathan Whitmore looked toward the judge as if he still expected the room to recognize who he was. It did not. No champagne waited here. No Manhattan skyline behind polished glass. No executives laughing at his jokes. Only fluorescent light, dark wood, attorneys, and documents that did not care how expensive his suit was. Lauren entered quietly beside Audrey Sloan, now visibly closer to 8 months pregnant. Golden blonde hair pulled back loosely, one hand resting beneath her belly. Nathan watched her cross the courtroom. His expression barely changed, but Lauren saw his fingers tighten around his pen, the same kind of pen he had pushed toward her on her birthday. "Mrs. Whitmore," the judge said, "please be seated." Lauren sat. Audrey opened the first binder. The proposed settlement appeared on the courtroom monitor. Then Schedule C. Then the small code that had started everything. WT 17. Nathan's attorney stood. This dispute concerns a technical consent issue that has been exaggerated by the circumstances of the parties' separation. Audrey did not react. She displayed the original trust agreement. Written notice required. Trustee approval required. Beneficiary consent required. 3 conditions. 3 missing items. Then came Nathan's closing documents. One representation stated that all material approvals had been obtained or would be delivered. The judge looked at Nathan. "You signed this?" "Yes, Your Honor, based on advice from counsel." Audrey changed the screen. An email appeared. "Get Lauren's settlement executed before Monday's closing." Nathan shifted in his chair. His attorney whispered something. Audrey continued. The next message filled the screen. "Give it to her at the birthday dinner. She won't make a scene in front of everyone." The courtroom became very still. Lauren looked down at her hands. She had already read those words. They still hurt, but differently now. They no longer made her feel foolish. They made Nathan look small. Audrey displayed the next message. "She's 7 months pregnant. She's exhausted. Keep the conversation short and get the signature." Nathan stood suddenly. That is being taken completely out of context. His lawyer reached for his arm. "Nathan," but he kept talking. This was a negotiation strategy. Nothing more. The judge looked over the top of the document. "A strategy involving your wife's pregnancy?" Nathan hesitated. "I was trying to avoid conflict." Lauren almost laughed. The birthday cake. The 20 guests. The phones. The silver pen. Avoid conflict. Audrey placed one final document on the screen. The trustee's confirmation. No approval. No consent. No authorization. Nathan shook his head. This entire transaction is being held hostage because she changed her mind. For the first time, Lauren looked directly at him. I never changed my mind. Nathan turned. She continued. You never asked. Those 3 words landed harder than anything Audrey had presented. Nathan opened his mouth. The judge raised one hand. Mr. Whitmore, before you explain further, I would like to understand something. Nathan sat slowly. The judge lifted the settlement agreement. You asked your pregnant wife to sign this on Friday. Yes. You expected the transaction to close Monday. Yes. You represented that required approvals would be available. Nathan hesitated. Yes. And Mrs. Whitmore's consent was one of those approvals. My attorneys believed. That was not my question. Silence. The judge looked at the emails. Then at WT 17. Then back at Nathan. Then let us take these documents one at a time, because the dates appear to matter. No one moved. Nathan's face lost color. For years, Lauren had watched him dominate rooms simply by speaking louder, faster, and with more certainty than everyone else. Now certainty could not change the page. The closing remained suspended pending review. Expedited financial disclosure was ordered. The disputed trust rights would be preserved until properly resolved. No empire changed hands that morning. No one became instantly ruined. Something more important happened. Nathan lost control of the story. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited behind metal barriers. Lauren walked past them without stopping. Audrey followed. Behind them, Nathan remained inside with his lawyers, surrounded by papers bearing his own signature. WT 17 had begun as a tiny code he assumed his wife had forgotten. It ended as proof of the mistake underneath his entire plan. Nathan had spent years teaching Lauren not to read his business. He learned too late that she had never forgotten how. 1 year later, Lauren Whitmore received another envelope on her birthday. She stared at it for 5 full seconds before touching it. Not because she expected divorce papers. Not anymore. But some memories live in the hands before they disappear from the heart. The envelope rested on a small kitchen table beside a vanilla cake with one crooked candle and a plastic cup covered in fingerprints. Across from Lauren, Lily sat in her high chair, banging a spoon against the tray like she was conducting an orchestra. Your timing is terrible, Lauren told her. Lily laughed. Lauren did too. The house was smaller than the penthouse. Much smaller. No private elevator. No skyline stretching across 40 floors of glass. No chef. No champagne. Sunlight entered through ordinary windows and warmed the hardwood floor. Lauren loved every inch of it. Audrey Sloan sat beside the cake, holding coffee. You planning to open that? Lauren touched the envelope. Eventually. It's not from Nathan. That helps. The divorce had been finalized months earlier. Not quickly, not cleanly, but fairly. The financial disclosures ordered after the hearing revealed enough inconsistencies to force Nathan back to the negotiating table. Whitmore Development survived. The halcyon deal eventually continued under revised terms after the collateral issues were corrected and the required approvals properly addressed. Nathan did not lose everything. Lauren never wanted him to. But he lost something he valued more than money. Control. For the first time, every important document had been reviewed by people he could not intimidate into silence. Lauren received the property rights, financial support, and custody arrangements she was legally entitled to. No secret fortune. No instant empire. Just enough room to begin again. She looked at Lily. More than enough. Nathan still saw his daughter according to the parenting agreement. Lauren had insisted on that. Whatever happened between them, she refused to turn Lily into another contract term designed to punish someone. That surprised Nathan. Maybe it even embarrassed him. Lauren no longer cared. She picked up the envelope. Her fingers were steady. Inside was a letter from Morrison and Hale Consulting. Audrey watched her read. Lauren's eyes widened. They offered it. They offered it. Senior contract analyst. Flexible schedule. 3 days in the office. Remote work available. Lauren read the salary twice. Then the final paragraph. We believe your attention to detail, judgment, and experience would be an exceptional addition to our team. Her vision blurred. Not from pain this time. Recognition. Years earlier, Nathan had told her she no longer needed contracts. Then he had convinced her she had forgotten how to understand them. Now a company was offering to pay her because she had never forgotten at all. Audrey reached into her purse. I brought you something. She placed a slim box on the table. Lauren opened it. A silver fountain pen. She laughed immediately. You're cruel. I considered cream stationery. Absolutely not. Lily slapped her spoon against the tray. Lauren placed the employment agreement on the table. For a moment, another room returned. White roses, crystal glasses, 20 witnesses. Nathan sliding a silver pen toward her. Just sign it, Lauren. She remembered the fear. Then WT 17. Then the elevator doors. Then Monday morning. Then the courtroom. Lauren uncapped Audrey's pen. Her phone vibrated. A message. Nathan, happy birthday. I hope you and Lily are well. Lauren read it. No anger came. No longing either. She typed, thank you. Lily is doing great. Then she put the phone down. Nothing more was needed. Lauren turned back to the employment agreement. Lily watched her with wide green eyes. This one, Lauren whispered. Mommy actually wants to sign. The pen moved across the page. Lauren Whitmore. Her own name. Her own decision. Her own future. A year earlier, Nathan had placed divorce papers beside his pregnant wife's birthday cake because he believed the most powerful name on the page was his. He learned too late that Lauren's signature had never been his to schedule, pressure, or assume. And this time, when she signed, nobody had to tell her where the line was.